All right, so we are getting a big breaking news right now that there will be no compromise on farmers' issue. A big development as per the government sources, and sensitive dairy and agricultural sectors will be are protected in the US deal as per the sources. So this is a very
I can tell you this is coming in from top sources in the government, Shivam, and we are told that there is no compromise whatsoever on the farmers' issue, that the dairy and the agriculture sector are protected.
Yep.
So the push that was coming in from the Americans to include dairy and farm sector in the trade deal has been put in abeyance. That's a significant one. Also that India will continue to buy energy and oil from whichever sources depending on market dynamics and market prices. Of course, we will buy non-sanctioned oil. That's the only concession made to the United States in this deal. And so far as purchase is concerned, we are continuing to buy, as of now, about $80 to $90 billion. That can, over a period of years, can go up to $500 billion. That's the Trump figure. But that's not for this year or next year. This is over the next few years. We have a very important guest, President of the CII, Mr. Rajiv Memani, joining us in this broadcast. Shivam, let's go to him. Very good afternoon, sir, for joining us. And Mr. Memani, my first question to you, your first reaction to this big development for India and the United States. It's not just about the corporate sector, but then that remains the cornerstone of the larger partnership.
When you're saying big development, are you talking about the announcement last night or what you just were announcing? I just overheard you when I was on this thing.
Mr. Memani, some video issue there. The video. All right, we're just network issue. We're just fixing it.
Can you
Mr. Memani's.
But Abhishek, this has been the primary concern every time when we talk about any trade deal, any free trade agreement with any country, or whether it be the European Union, whether it be America. It has always been the protection of the farmers' rights, whether it's the dairy industry or the agricultural industry. So this is very important, and this is the biggest news, I believe, that there will be no compromise. There will be no compromise in the dairy sector. There's particularly the farmers' issues, sensitive issues like the dairy and agricultural sectors. That always has required.
You see, there is a reason why so, because the United States has just about 1 million odd farmers. In India, you have, at least 20, 30 times more than that. The size of the farm holding is very small. Ours are essentially small and marginal farmers, and that's why they need to be protected. Mr. Memani is back with us. The audio and the video fixed, connectivity is sorted. Thank you so much, Mr. Memani, for joining us. My question to you was your first reactions. I mean, the markets have shown the kind of exuberance that we are seeing in the Sensex and Nifty. Would you say it's rational, irrational, or absolutely justified?
Hard to comment on the markets, but I would say, firstly, for India, US is the largest trading partner. US is the largest economy in the world. India is the fastest growing economy in the world. And if we looked at our trade, overall last year we had about 85 to $90 billion of trade. And those sectors which were not impacted by tariffs, like electronics and others, they're continuing to show very strong growth. And those which were impacted by the tariffs, which would roughly be about, say, $50 billion or so, there we were starting to see some signs of slowdown because, tariff made it uncompetitive for Indian companies in many cases to be exporting from here. So to that extent, I think it addresses the concern. These are all labor-intensive sectors, as you know, whether it's leather, textiles, garments, gems and jewelry, auto components, engineering and others. So for those sectors, I would say it's particularly positive because they have a they're labor-intensive sectors, they impact quite a few people. But in the overall, if you look at the overall size of the economy, from an overall size of the economy for a $4 trillion economy, is it a very material impact? Probably the answer is no. But the second thing which is important is that the India-US trade deal and the friction on tariff that was there, I think that it created, I would say, disproportionate noise. And there was a lot of, any time you went for any investor interaction, any company interaction, with media, with government, between industry, this used to be the key theme. How will this get? So as this gets settled, I think the Indian economy, which has been the fastest growing economy in the world, doing extremely well, I think this was one question that was there. At least that question also gets cleared. So to that extent, I think there is a positive reaction in the market, because this was one sort of hovering cloud that's been removed. The third thing I would say, which is an important one, is that when, at least what we have seen, whenever there have been trade agreements between countries, so whether it's India, Australia, India, New Zealand, Middle East, UK, EFTA, Europe, whenever we have gone and visited as CII those countries, there is much broader interest than just trade and tariff. Industries want to connect. There is cross-border investments that is discussed much more. There's technology transfer that's talked about, and there is a there is a big increase in trade and investments that we see. So as this issue gets cleared up between two of the largest economies in the world, high growth economies in the world, democracies in the world, there are natural complementary relationships. I would say that this will give a great impetus to investments and trade between India and US, even further than what we have seen going forward.
Mr. Memani, the other question is, could you also reply on the timing of this trade deal that is happening? Is this just a reaction on the deal that we had, the India-EU deal? Because the timing is also important. Why did Donald Trump take so much of time? Was he waiting for other free trade agreements with other major nations, especially the EU? It has 27 countries, sir.
I may not be able to comment on that, but I know that there was an active dialogue that was going on. I think the trade ministries of both the governments were actively engaged in dialogue over the last 8, 9 months, 10 months. It may not be, I will not be privy to the reason why not 2 weeks back, why today. That will be hard to say, but even what we picked up in Davos when we were there in the World Economic Forum was that there was a strong sort of push to see how the India-US relationship gets concluded. So the one-off remarks that President Trump made to media, what we also heard in the closed-door meetings with the senior US government officials and others, was that we were very close to doing a trade deal with India. They had some issues, concerns, we had some issues and concerns. So hopefully I think they've got ironed out. Apart from that, I think I may not be able to attribute any reason to the timing.
Okay. Well, my question to you, Mr. Memani, is you were giving a sectoral classification of the impact of the trade deal where there were some adverse consequences now sort of taken care of, creased out. But going forward, you think there are positive spin-offs on sunrise sectors like AI, and that, in fact, it's a two-way deal, and so there could be more American investments in that sector, semiconductors, AI, etc., after the deal?
Yeah, I mean, having said that, so I have to answer your question. If you actually see the commitments that have been made to AI, which is largely through data centers and others, in the last 3 to 4 months has been very, very high. And I think, I forget the name, but India was, US did announce that India is part of the Pax Silica partnership that, yes, that US was looking at. So the AI investments were going, data centers were going very significantly. You saw the GCCs, we were seeing that momentum continue to grow. So I would say those investments were continuing to grow in India. They were not getting impacted by the tariff issues. But as I mentioned earlier, whenever you have something like this, it's in these areas, in other areas of manufacturing, capital goods, other parts of the economy, and including in semiconductors and others, definitely there will be greater interest. Because if there was one question in the minds of people that, can this be expanded, will there be a hindrance later on? I think that gets answered. So when people evaluated investments, they look at all the other things around that. At least that one box also gets ticked.
Right. All right. Mr. Rajiv Memani, thanks a lot for joining us and sharing your insights, your analysis on the latest development between India and US on the trade deal.